Hey guys, welcome to the latest edition of the Muir Reflection. John from the John Muir Show here, and just yesterday we once again heard from Tony Fauci. Of course, Fauci is an individual who's really found plenty of stardom in the United States in recent months pertaining to the pandemic. Sadly, Fauci has greatly influenced a lot of the responses that we have seen to the China virus in the United States in recent months. And now Fauci has the audacity, after everything that we have seen throughout this pandemic, Fauci had the audacity to go to bat for the failed World Health Organization. Now, keep in mind, Fauci and the World Health Organization do have a lot in common, so maybe that is the reason that Fauci is going to bat for them. The main thing that Fauci and the World Health Organization have in common is that they both failed miserably during this pandemic. In the case of Tony Fauci was giving terrible advice during this pandemic. I mean, Fauci was trying to pass stuff as fact when he did not know it was fact, and then in a lot of cases, what he said ended up turning out to be dead wrong. But here, Fauci goes passing the stuff as fact, and what he said was used to influence the response to the virus in this country, and it had disastrous results in some cases. I mean, some of these orders we saw, some of these overreactions from various states' governors with these unconstitutional, in some cases unlawful, stay-at-home or safer-at-home orders. I mean, this was a massive overreaction that has caused major problems to various states and then subsequently our nation's economy, and also trampled on the constitutional rights of law-abiding U.S. citizens, something that was totally unacceptable to this day. A lot of that was due to Tony Fauci and what it is he was saying. And at first, he seemed like a nice enough guy, right? Obviously he had this long list of credentials, Some of it seemed impressive. I mean, not going to deny that. But as time went along and things started to play out, we realized, Tony Fauci has no idea what he's talking about. Yet the guy's still trying to act like he's some sort of an expert. And you have all of these propagandists of the Democrat Party and the fake news media going along with it. Like, it's Tony Fauci. You must listen to every word that Tony Fauci says. No, we never should have listened to Tony Fauci. And we never again should listen to Tony Fauci because the man has thoroughly discredited himself throughout this entire pandemic. For goodness sake, Tony Fauci is the guy who said on one day that he didn't believe that we should ever shake hands with each other again in the United States. And then he turns around another day and says that it's totally fine during the pandemic for young people to meet some stranger on a dating app and go over to the stranger's house and have sex with him. Wait, so Fauci's saying that it's not safe to shake hands with someone, but it's safe and appropriate to go meeting a stranger online and going and having sex with them? I mean, come on. This guy is not serious. And we learned that as things unfolded during this whole pandemic. So Tony Fauci, he failed miserably during the pandemic, and so did the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization, which is run by a guy who's not an actual doctor, that should be your first telling sign right there. The World Health Organization spent this pandemic giving faulty medical advice, parroting Chinese Communist Party propaganda, and criticizing the United States for things like President Trump's life-saving travel restrictions from heavily affected parts of Asia. I mean, the World Health Organization failed. Tony Fauci failed. I guess no surprise that Tony Fauci is going to bat for the World Health Organization, because he figures if people are rightfully criticizing the World Health Organization that failed during this pandemic, they might also rightfully criticize him, someone who failed during the pandemic. Look, this whole episode, one of the main things it's taught us is that so many of the quote-unquote experts out there, people like Tony Fauci, so many of the people who put together these models and projections, the World Health Organization, the CDC, you name it, these people who are so-called experts have shown themselves not to be experts in the slightest. They have no idea what they're doing. In many cases, they're doing more harm than they are good for the United States. So what we need to do in the United States is ensure that any time going forward in the future, we never trust any of those people or organizations who totally discredit themselves. Fauci, WHO, CDC, the people who put together the models and projections that are supposedly scientific. It's imperative we never trust those people again because they failed us miserably during this pandemic and had incredibly serious consequences we're still dealing with now and likely still will be dealing with for a long time. Yet we can never let them do this to our country, harm our country in this way ever again. It's all the time that we have for today and this week. Have the best of weekends. John Muir Show back on Monday, 8:40 a.m. on WTAQ, 9 a.m., WSAU and WHBL. Till next time, I'm out.